failure by the municipalities to promote a safe and healthy environment, which is one of the objects of local government listed in section 152 of the Constitution. Water. Failure to supply households with clean and sufficient water as mandated by section 27 of the Constitution and given content by the Water Services Act is in the order of the day in several municipalities in the Northwest Province. Many municipalities battle high rates of water interruptions. Makwasi Hills stands at 90.6%, Geklenrivier at 88.6%. That is with regards to water interruptions. Moses Kotane at 73.1%, Moretele at 72.1%, Rustenburg at 71.6%, Dr. Ruth at 68%, and Ngaka Modiri at 67.7%. These water supply challenges are compounded by high water losses, and many municipalities in the Northwest, as highlighted in the 2023 no-drop report, as highlighted in the 2023 no-drop report, many municipalities are compounded by high water losses. Tied to the water access challenges are the concerns over water quality in some municipalities, which have been flagged in the 2023 Blue Drop report. Litter. Living with litter. Municipalities such as Mahikeng, JB Marks, Geklenrivier, Makwasi Hills, and Kagisano Molopo are failing to address the scourge of illegal dumping and ensure the collection and solid waste, the collection of solid waste within their jurisdiction. Data from Statistics South Africa, the 2022 census Northwest Provincial report showed low rates of access to weekly refuse removal services in many municipalities such as Kagisano Molopo, Geklenrivier, Moretele, and Mahikeng. The state of affairs is not only in violation of residents' rights in terms of Section 24 of the Constitution and municipalities' obligation in terms of the Waste Act, but again, it also violates residents' rights to human dignity. How do you allow people to live in these conditions? No toilets. Residents in municipalities such as Rustenburg, Dr. Ruth, Makwasi Hills, Moretele, and Moses Kotane are subject to utilizing toilets that do not allow them to live a life of dignity due to lack of basic sanitation. This violates the residents' rights to dignity and a basic sanitation as provided for in the Water Services Act. The lack of reliable roads in municipalities such as JB Marks, Ditsobotla, Moretele, Moses Kotane, and Rustenburg violates residents' right to freedom of movement in terms of Section 21 of the Constitution. Residents and communities of these municipalities struggle with access to schools, clinics, and emergency services due to poor roads infrastructure. Children in these areas are forced to walk through flooded streets and navigate unsafe, deteriorated roads, which infringes their rights to the security of the person under Section 12 of the Constitution. Blacked out and living in the dark. The failure by some municipalities to provide electricity violates residents' rights of access to adequate housing and basic services. It also undermines the residents' right to human dignity again. Now, with regards to the provincial government, and I'm told there's a representative from the Office of the Premier in attendance, the heading here says provincial government mandated but missing. What a serious indictment. The systemic failure by the municipalities in the Northwest Province is also a failure on the part of the provincial government of the Northwest. Sections 139 and 154 of the Constitution mandates the provincial government with the duty to support, strengthen, monitor, and intervene where municipalities fail to fulfill their constitutional obligations. However, the sheer volume of unresolved complaints confirmed by site inspections and corroborated by oversight reports show that the province's support and intervention has been insufficient or ineffective, perpetuating systemic non-compliance at the local level. It is therefore a case of the provincial government of the Northwest being mandated, yet missing in action as the collapse of municipalities continue under its watch. Very serious indictment. And again, I'm asking, and I'm putting this question to the provincial government. Do you really care? Findings and directives. We have made findings and directives against all the 14 municipalities as well as the provincial government. You can go, ladies and gentlemen, you can go over the findings and directives at your own convenience. For the sake of time, one will not read verbatim the findings and directives, but will point out broad strokes, will point out in broad strokes what the findings deal with. The findings deal with, amongst others, the following. 1. Violations of constitutional and statutory obligations through sewage spillages by failing to provide access to clean drinking water, failing to provide basic sanitation, failing to deal with illegal dumping, inadequate refuse removal, poor road infrastructure, and access to electricity. The report contains several directives and requests for various plans within 90 days, addressing, amongst others, water challenges, sewage villages, illegal dumping, fission, refuse collection, poor road networks, and sanitation. In other words, it is expected of municipalities to table an action plan before their municipal councils and to provide us with a council-approved action plan within 90 days. How are you going to address the findings that I've referred to, especially water challenges, sewage spillages, illegal dumping, efficient refuse collection, poor road networks, and sanitation? A council-approved plan within 90 days on how you're going to address those findings. The report also directs the provincial government through COGTA to review all current interventions at the cited municipalities and implement any additional interventions as may be required to support municipalities with technical expertise and project management, to monitor compliance with these remedial plans, facilitate emergency funding where local budgets are inadequate, but rights violations are severe. Address the security of service delivery infrastructure to curb its vandalism and theft, and ensure that persons and entities responsible for the destruction of critical infrastructure are held accountable, and address continuing power cuts in some municipalities, which disrupt the provision of water and sanitation services. So we are expecting from the provincial government to indicate to us how they will be supporting municipalities with technical expertise and project management. How they're going to monitor compliance with these remedial plans. Facilitate emergency funding where local budgets are inadequate but rights have been violated. Just with regards to local budgets, I must also indicate during many of my visits to many municipalities, almost all of them in South Africa, almost all the municipalities complain about inadequate funding and the funding model. But let me also point it out. There's a lot of wastage taking place in municipalities. There's a lot of maladministration taking place in municipalities. And although municipalities are arguing that we have insufficient funds to provide the services, we are aware of the wastage and the maladministration taking place in local government, which is also a very serious indictment. I've listened to all these explanations. I visited all the provinces, met with, well, in your province, which is a very disrespectful province, especially in the local government sphere, where we only managed to meet with, I think, was it four water services authorities. The others just decided, Human Rights Commission is not important enough. When we meet with water services authorities, they all tell us the same story. We don't have funds. We don't have funds to provide services. You have funds. You are wasting. A call to implement the directives. As the Commission, we have done our part, which is to investigate and point out the required action on the part of the organs of state. We've done our work. We have identified the challenges. We have made findings. We are expecting from organs of state now to get involved and to deal with the challenges that the local sphere of government is facing in this province. Organs of state must now do their part and implement the directives we have made in this report. I'm grateful that the NGOs are in attendance, members of the legislature, Chapter 10 institution in attendance, because we all need to take hands and ensure that these findings and recommendations, or that the findings be recognized and the recommendations be implemented. We need to hold the local sphere of government accountable. From our side, I can assure you it's going to happen. I've done it in other provinces, and we will do it in this province as well. As the Commission, we expect nothing less than compliance with the directives we have made today. We cannot continue along this path of poor service delivery. In your province, no service delivery. Inadequate service delivery. a non-caring sphere of government. We must turn the tide against the state of poor service delivery. Over 30 years into a constitutional democracy, it is unacceptable that people must be languishing in poor service delivery when it is possible for us to put shoulder to the wheel to change this. As the Commission, we will not allow this investigation report to gather dust. We will monitor the implementation of the directives contained in this report and engage several role players to ensure that municipalities deliver on this obligation. Again, I want to repeat this report is not going to gather dust. Let me just explain to you why I'm saying this. We also conducted a service delivery inquiry in the Free State last year. That report was tabled in the Free State Legislature in November last year. We were invited to present the findings and recommendations to the specific portfolio committee in the Free State Legislature. We also presented extracts of the report in the Water and Sanitation Portfolio Committee in the National Assembly. The National Council of Provinces, House of Parliament, invited the Human Rights Commission to present its findings and recommendations when the NCOP visited the province earlier this year. We presented it. I was requested to present these findings and recommendations in the presence of the mayors and the municipal managers earlier this year. The report found its way into a debate in the National Council of Provinces, and specific recommendations were made by the specific select committee of the National Council of Provinces, and those recommendations became a decision of Parliament that the recommendation should be implemented. The Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa was also invited to the National Council of Provinces. He had to respond to questions in the NCOP, and he made specific commitments in the National Council of Provinces based on the report of the Human Rights Commission. Lastly, this is something you must also take note of. The report of the Human Rights Commission into the state of service delivery in the Free State province also found its way into a court judgment that recommended, that ruled for the dissolution of a municipal council in the Free State province. It's being challenged by that specific municipality. The Supreme Court of Appeal was petitioned. The municipality was unsuccessful. They have now, I'm told, they're busy applying for direct access to the Constitutional Court, wasting taxpayers' money, ratepayers' money. Again, I don't want to express my view. I'm not a Constitutional Court justice, but that is where they are at the moment, fighting this, a report of the Human Rights Commission, but more importantly, a court judgment. Supreme Court of Appeal ruled that they just have there's just no hope for success. But they are still challenging that decision of the SCA as well. So that is what's going to happen in this province as well. It's not going to gather dust. Let me make that very clear. We will be bringing the contents of this report to the attention of the MEC for Cooperative Governance, Human Settlements and Traditional Affairs, MEC Huageng Molapisi, when we meet with him on the 20th of November, which is this coming Friday. On the 25th of November, Sorry.
Wednesday.
Oh,
Yeah, Wednesday.
Thursday. This coming Thursday, I'm told. Sorry, my apologies. On the 25th of November, is next week Tuesday, we will be presenting this report to the Northwest Provincial Legislature's Portfolio Committee on Cooperative Governance, Human Settlements, and Traditional Affairs. So there, you see, what we did in the Free State Province will now also start in the Northwest Province. And I've already been invited by the NCOP to make a presentation on a number of matters. And we will also include this when we meet with the National Council of Provinces early in the new year. We enjoy a good working relationship with the National Council of Provinces Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Public Administration, following another report we issued on the state of local government in the Free State Province. The Select Committee visited several municipalities in the Free State, and I've already explained what transpired after that. We will be requesting the Select Committee to make visitations to some municipalities here in the Northwest Province to assess the state of service delivery. I have noted on social media that the National Council of Provinces is conducting provincial visits this week, and in the Northwest Province, not in this district, I'm told, but they are visiting municipalities in other districts, which I'm very grateful for. Ladies and gentlemen, as the South African Human Rights Commission, we will not rest until municipalities do what they are mandated to do, which is to deliver basic municipal services. And should the situation not change, we will not hesitate to take further steps, which may include litigation in order to vindicate the rights of the people of the Northwest Province. The people of the Northwest Province deserve better service delivery, and we dare not fail them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. You've said a mouthful. As I was listening to you, your colleagues, they are very concerning words that the Commissioner was speaking of. Scope of wastage, spillages, sewer spillages. He spoke of failures in government systems, failures in road infrastructure. And he also said we have it in us to turn these things around. The issues of budgets that have constantly been raised are not enough to, or are not a good enough excuse to allow our people to live in the conditions that they are living in. We have reached a stage now where we will take your reflections. We will take questions and answers. I will take the first round of questions or reflections. I see Honorable Groenewald. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? I will ask my colleague to rotate the microphone. And then can I note a second hand? We had 2 hands this side, 3 hands. I will start with the beautiful lady from SABC, after Mr. Groenewald. And then I will come to the last 2 hands for the first round. Mr. Groenewald, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Director. I don't know what's a practical circumstance, so let me stand. Firstly, I want to thank the Commissioner for the report. I think it's detailed and quite clear, but it is saying what we are all living every day. So I cannot see, let me rather say that we speak truth to power. It is true that there's no action from municipalities. And we saw a case now of Mbadeni that got a fine of 650 million because of sewage. Why are we waiting to that time? Because that money is being pressed down to the taxpayers. It's not the accountable municipal managers and directors that have to pay that money. It's the taxpayers that are going to pay that money. This is transgressions of the Bill of Rights. Why aren't these municipal managers and directors not being arrested and put in jail? It is their responsibility, their accountability. Why is the findings to say that there must be plans in place? We saw the Green Rock report already since 2011. It's a systemic, ongoing failure of human rights, especially Section 24. This makes this government ecological racist within South Africa. We cannot wait until there's a plan and a turnaround plan and a turnaround plan. You've mentioned all the basic services: electricity, sewage, litter, stormwater, road infrastructure. It's all the basic services. That is why there is a local government, but none of it's being done. Why isn't there action to these failures? We see it year on year on the No Drop report, on the Green Drop report, on the Blue Drop report. The government knows he's failing in it. And we are finding more and more reports and findings to say that they failed. We're living it every day. We can see the failure every day. Kids walk because there's no money. It's being stolen due to corruption and fraud. And the other part of it, there's salaries. The salary bill of government is so high. Let's take the provincial government, for example. Its total budget is 55 billion. But through the agencies and all the money is being paid, your total salary bill is 50 billion. If there's 2 increases of 4.5%, then there's no more money. Therefore, the money doesn't get to service delivery. The money doesn't get to the ground. And we see it all over. We can see the systemic dilapidation of all municipalities within the Northwest. And it's not a local government or legislative problem. If you look at the DTE case, where they found that no justice delayed, justice denied in terms of equality. Why isn't it the same with sewage? Sewage is very, very bad for your health. Not only the fact that the feces and stuff is actually within that water, but even the air that they created is harmful. Why is there no action? We see it year on year in the Green Report, we see it year on year in the Water over the Blue Report. And then there's fines being given out. So the taxpayers are being being held accountable double, because they have to live in these situations and now they have to pay for this fines. If there must be a reform in terms of environmental degradation, it must happen now because the time is already done. If we still want to turn it around, the time is now. I thank you, Program Director.
Thank you very much. I would take a second reflection, then we would go to Commissioner. Can I request that everyone who would speak introduce himself and the organization is coming from, but if you are not comfortable with the organization, your name and surname is fine, and then you can then speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Tabang Murutla from SABC News. Mine is more of a request because I believe the Commissioner has already touched on the issues that I wanted to ask about. You mentioned that the report will not gather dust and that actions will be taken. So I want you to be specific as to what kind of steps or actions does the Commission intend on taking? Because you would agree with me that this is not the first report to have been released by the Commission, where it has found that the government's fears have indeed violated the rights of the citizens of this province. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Ms. Mlongo. I would hand over to you. I don't know whether you caught all the questions. I would probably come after you to assist with capturing some of the questions if you've missed them. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice work. Okay, on the first input, indeed, Mr. Groenewald has referred to again to the challenges, service delivery challenges that the province is facing on a daily basis. Everything that he said with regards to inadequate service delivery is correct. It's contained in our report. I earlier, when I started, I also said that I'm extremely grateful for the fact that so many different stakeholders are in attendance, because this challenge of poor service delivery in the Northwest Province should be tackled by everyone. Spheres of government, NGOs, civil society, our higher educational institutions, Chapter 9 institutions. Public Service Commission is in the process of extending their mandate to include local government. All of them need to take hands and address this challenge. And we need to start with municipalities themselves. You need a committed workforce. You need a caring political leadership in your municipal councils. Once you have a skilled staff component, you have a political leadership that actually cares about their communities, you will immediately see some direction. But I also, when I addressed you, also indicated that for now, we have done what we're supposed to do in terms of our mandate. And we are relying on all organs of state to now address our findings and implement our recommendations. And that includes the provincial legislature. That includes you, Mr. Groenewald. You need to ensure. And I've met the Honorable Chairperson of the Cooperative Governance Committee in the Free State Legislature will tell you that I have put a lot of pressure on him to table this report in his portfolio committee. There's an expectation on public office bearers like yourselves now to run with this report, to ensure that this gets tabled in the Northwest Provincial Legislature, so that the legislature can conduct proper oversight over these municipalities, follow up on the recommendations that we have made. From our side, and this is coupled with the question that was raised by the SABC, I've indicated what we've done with regards to the Free State Service Delivery Inquiry Report. I have indicated that other organizations have used our report when they brought applications to the High Court. They included this report. And why did they include our reports, especially the one in the Free State? And they will probably do the same with this one, is because it's accurate and Our investigative reports and our inquiry reports are of a very high quality. Very high quality reports that we issue. And that is why courts are not hesitant to refer to our reports. So what I'm requesting is, and you were asking about an action plan, where must they start, Mr. They must start somewhere. They must plan. They must plan to address these findings and recommendations. And we are insisting that they provide us with those council-approved plans within 90 days. Within 90 days. And we will hold them accountable if they don't adhere to the plans that they've set for themselves. We will hold them accountable. And although a lot of austerity measures have been implemented in the public sector, and the Human Rights Commission, unfortunately, has not been excluded. We are also facing serious financial challenges, especially with regard, all of you are expecting us to litigate on a more regular basis against municipalities. It is simply not affordable for the Human Rights Commission. I think we are per province considering to litigate against at least once or twice against municipalities in specific provinces, but funds permitting. So we cannot take all 257 municipalities in the country to court on a regular basis. It's just not affordable. It just doesn't make sense. So we are expecting of all organs of state, and we've criticized the provincial government. And I'm requesting Mr. Groenewald to use his influence to ensure that the legislature also exercises its oversight responsibilities with regards to the implementation of our recommendations. Thank you.
Sorry, thank you, Commissioner. If may just add, starting with the Commissioner from the question from Honorable Groenewald on the issue of the plans that have requested. You'll see that when you go through the report, there are instances where we have requested plans, and there are instances where we've requested immediate action. As you may be aware, colleagues, the rights in the Constitution, some of them are immediately realizable, some of them are subject to progressive realization, subject to available resources. So we'll note when you go through the report that the way we've requested plans is specifically in relation to the rights that are subject to progressive realization within available resources. But when it comes to the rights in section 24, as you've rightly mentioned, which is immediately realizable, we have directed that municipalities must ensure that, for example, sewer spillages are addressed within 24 hours, and that going forward, they must ensure that sewer spillages are attended to within 24 hours of reporting. And this is consistent with the new water and sanitation regulations, which do require that sewer spillages must be addressed within 24 hours. So there is a distinction that we've made between rights that are progressively realizable as well as rights that are immediately implementable. And also in terms of what next from the South African Human Rights Commission, indeed, as Commissioner has rightly indicated, the enforcement of the report is not something that we can do alone as the Human Rights Commission. Not only do we rely on public representatives, but rely on you, our colleagues from the media, because as you continue to put the issue of service delivery into the forefront of everyday conversation in our media space, it does assist in putting pressure to bear to those who are responsible for ensuring that the report is being implemented. We also rely on you, our human rights champions, wherever you are in your communities. We also rely on community members because they have an opportunity periodically to actually hold their public representatives to account when they fail to deliver on services. But as the South African Human Rights Commission, we also will continue, as Commissioner has indicated, funds permitting, to use all our resources to ensure that the report directives are complied with. And a case in point is